if Jeff Bezos buys it, you've got to think he'll keep Brad Stevens and the basketball side of the building intact. What does he know about basketball?
Correct.
Okay, and those people have obviously done a tremendous job. So they're not going anywhere. But everything else, and I hope this doesn't come to pass. Because, there's a lot of good people in that building who we know and, I wish none of this. But just Jeff Bezos doesn't need someone else's marketing people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or so, and so then you would say, well, what do the marketing people have to do with the team? They don't really, except you go into the building and you say the same, you work with people every day and it's the same vibe and the same people and the same, it's more than just your coach and your trainer. There's a whole, infrastructure. There's a whole ecosystem, to use Ted Johnson's word. And half of it, if not more, is totally blown up. That's different. I don't know. What if the new PR people, media people, marketing people, business people are a-holes? What if they're just a-holes?
It screws up the vibe. It screws up what you got.
That hurts big time for some of us more than others.
All of a sudden,
say some people would host you for a courtside seat here and there, and that doesn't happen anymore. Think about
you're stuck in 317, row 10.
No, I'm not.
Jay Stu might be though.
No, but
think about the ramifications.
There's a human element to the story, which is the environment changes. And not to mention all those people, the new people that come in might have different value systems. And, they're different with the players. They make their lives more difficult. Like all these other variables come in that all of a sudden the guys are looking around going, what the hell is this? I got to deal with this. And now it somehow affects, the dynamic on the floor, the dynamic in the locker room. Like that can all happen, let alone the decisions that come on the contracts after that.
So, and look, maybe the new owners step up everything that the Celtics have done, how they treat the players. It's even better. I mean, it could be, but it could be the other thing is, I think what Simmons is sort of concerned about there.
Yeah, look, it can go either way. Like the easy one look at the Patriots, right? Like they ended up in better ownership than they had before. I would say the same of the Red Sox.
Definitely.
The ownership got better. What if it gets worse?
Yeah.
What if that happens?
I mean, the next guy's going to have money.
You would think.
It's not like Victor Kayam is going to be buying the team or the Yawkey Trust or Harrington or something like this with not a lot of money. So that shouldn't be an issue. But what if they're just a-holes? Simply put, what if they change too much of the ancillary personnel in the building, in the organization? And it does sort of, the players do sort of encounter it. And it's this is different, and it's not better. So, I think that's I'll say this. It felt like it was too good to be true because it was too good to be true. Wick spent money and carried himself in a way that wasn't real because it wasn't real. So, but all I'm saying is he did manage it that way. Once they got to this level, he spared no expense and handled himself as you would want any owner to handle himself. It can't be any better. I don't know how it could be any better. Maybe it could be the same. I just said maybe it's better. I don't know how it could be really. Maybe it's the same. But I don't know how it's much better. And, it turns out what Wick was doing was unsustainable. But it was working. And it was just as you would draw it up.
What if the new owner sustains it? In other words, here's how I would say it could get better. Wick re-signed everybody, but he didn't actually pay it.
Right.
What if the new guy pays it?
No, that's true. So that Wick signed players to contracts. His mouth wrote checks that he couldn't cash. So he couldn't end up paying these guys. He could sign them to the contracts into the future, but he couldn't pay them. The next guy can pay him.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's good news for sure. But there's still uncertainty there. There's another Simmons cut related to this as well as related to Pagliuca. A couple of interesting nuggets in here.
I think it's super icy with Wick and Pagliuca right now too, which I don't know whether that affects whether he gets it or not. But
so stop. Let me just pick up that. Why might it be icy between Wick and Pagliuca?
Because Wick wants Pags to have it to sustain what it is because Wick cares about the Celtics. And the old man is saying, I'm selling to the highest bidder. I don't care who gets it.
Well, but why would Pags be icy towards Wick then if Wick is trying to steer the team to him? Try again. Go ahead, Jimmy.
I think Pags was blindsided by all this sales stuff.
I was just saying Wick's caught in the middle. But go ahead.
I mean, you know what I mean?
If
Wick really wants Pags to get it and is trying to steer it towards him, they wouldn't be icy. It'd be Pags would be appreciative of Wick trying to do a deal with him. unless they're driving too hard of a bargain. Maybe that's it. Maybe maybe it's that Irv is in it for the last dime, and Pags is looking at Wick going, hey, listen, we've been in this together from the start.
Exactly.
And now you're, is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah, that they're going for the, and now Wick's sort of caught in the middle of it, because on the one hand, his father wants to take the most money, and Pags is appealing to him.
Yeah.
And Wick's going like, well, what do you want me to do?
And Pags
said, what do I want you to do? I want you to sell to me.
And Pags is saying, we were partners, thought we had a deal or an understanding here, and now the old man's shopping the thing? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but to Jimmy's point, is there any chance that Pags is sitting there like the rest of us, like, wait, what? You weren't the real owner the whole time?
Oh, he had to know.
Pags, I think, knew. I think Pags was blindsided by this whole thing. And I also, there's a perception, at least that I have, that Wick has always stuck his chest out and kind of pushed Pags to the back. And Pags is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. So if you're mean to Pags, you're the a-hole in the situation. But I think there's that kind of perception with it. Is Wick is oh, I do all this for the Celtics, and Pags is just kind of there. No, Pags is at these meetings too. Pags is just as involved with the Celtics as Wick is. Pags he doesn't need the credit for it. He's as good as he is.
I mean, unless Wick is now, siding with his father. Now that the decision's been made, Pags, we're going to sell to whoever the highest bidder is, because that's the way we're going to do it. Mm-hmm. What would you do? I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, go ahead. Pick it up. Play the comment again.
I think it's super icy with Wick and Pagluca right now, too, which I don't know whether that affects whether he gets it or not. But
it does.
His son, everybody likes that. He went to Duke, and it's
he was there when Tatum was there, was he not?
Yeah, it's a situation where sometimes this can go horribly when it's I'm going to take over and groom my son, and it's like, oh my God, the son actually seems like he's pretty good, and the buzz on him is excellent. So and a lot of the minority owners that are tied to the Pagluca team or the people that a lot of them are already there. So from a continuity standpoint, that feels the best. I'm with you. I think the 6 seems high because you don't have the arena. But if
the arena situation is a disaster for the Celtics,
it's a disaster, and it's not a disaster because their lease goes to 2034, and that's plenty of time to build your own thing. And then the other piece is, the stuff with Wick and his dad. That story is going to come out at some point. I don't think the right version of the story has come out yet, but I think that's been the biggest head scratcher of this whole thing because, the Irv, the legend, rich guy legend, all time, great businessman, just revered and made one of the great investments of all time. And that's sometimes how these guys think, where that's I 22-pled my investment. I'm disciplined with this. It's time to get out.
So a lot of interesting nuggets in there. The Wick and the dad story hasn't been fully flushed out. So we felt like the New York Post story. Was this done after the Post story? It had to have been, right?
Yeah, it was. This was posted yesterday afternoon.
So it's the New York Post story is probably just scratching the surface, according to Simmons. So I'm here for those details.
Same.
I'm looking forward to them. Although those details being told, nothing like a good family drama.
Definitely.
And, the thing they said in the previous cut about this whole business about Wick staying on is I said from day one, no, he's not. These guys don't buy teams and then let the previous owner still run them. That's just counterintuitive to the whole thing. They'll let you sit in the second row and cheer like they let Cuban do, but you're not going to be allowed to do donkey do. Sorry.
It's basically what's been happening the last 20 years anyway, but
Oh, Pagluca's kid? So now we got another kid to deal with? I've never seen or heard of this guy.
Who's this?
Who's this?
Jimmy?
I, for one, am a fan of the Pagluca family.
What's the kid's name?
Doesn't need to know yet.
Mini Pags.
I just know I'm a fan of Pags. So I hope he gets the team.
So there's a Pags Jr. running around who's going to really take over the team. These guys, I'm telling you.
Mini Pags.
Mini Pags.
Pags Jr. The old man's going to now call himself Pags Senior.
Here comes Skipper.
I just welcome our new ownership in Pags.
So he went to Duke. He's got a Dookie running the team. I know Pags went to Duke. Did the kid go to Duke?
I think so.
Yeah.
So the kid thinks he knows basketball because he put a shaved basketball on his head and went to Cameron Arena. It's great. Now we got another kid to deal with. I said without even knowing Pags had a kid. on the face of it, it's hard not to give that a little shot. You've got to give that a little shot. The legend of Irv Grousbeck. I heard, and I don't know if this is public, so I'm not going to say it, and I don't know what Simmons was referring to. They're one of the great investments of all time. I don't think he was referring to the Celtics. Irv, legendary investor. I heard of an investment that he made and held on to. What did Simmons say? Like, he didn't say quadrupled. He used
20-tupled it.
He used a multiple. 20-tupled?
Yeah.
I think I know.
He meant 20 times over. And on the Celtics, I think it was actually 15.
Okay, so I don't think he was referring to the Celtics. I know what he's talking about. That Irv made this investment in this company and then held and absolutely just murdered the thing. To where people like the guy that I talked to, real money, knows what he's talking about. It's one of the best investment strategies we've ever seen. Blown away. And I think that's what Simmons is referring to. And maybe I tried to Google it to see if it was ever written or if it's public. So I guess it's not public, so I don't want to blow up the spot. But the Irv investment that he made was, I don't think he's talking about the Celtics, as good as that did. He's talking about another one. So Irv knows what the hell he's doing, is I guess the point. And if Irv says it's time to sell, it's time to sell, Wick. Pags, like the rest of you. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, there's a drama going on there.
Definitely, yeah. And he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that's, like, going to worry about what's good for the Celtics. He's going to worry about what's good for him, as he should. If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Celtics analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.